Hello and welcome to CX Today. My name's David Dungay. We have another CX trend session today, and I have with me Gidi Adlersberg from Audiocodes. Welcome to the show, Gidi. How are you?
Hi, David. I'm excellent, and happy to be doing this. Good to see you.
Great. So, of course, the CX Trends is a series where we talk to the CX Awards winners, of course, Audiocodes being one of those. These are the leaders in the customer experience space, really at the forefront of this industry. So, today we're going to be talking about using Microsoft Teams as your contact center and how that really impacts customer experience strategy and outcomes. But before we get into that conversation, Gidi, do you want to give us a bit of an introduction to yourself and the business?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Gidi Adlersberg. I manage the Voca CIC solution for Audiocodes. Voca CIC stands for our Conversational Interaction Center solution, which is really our Team CCAS offering. So that's us, and basically I manage all the business activity of the solution for the company.
Great. So let's dive into the conversation then, Giddy. How has the integration of Microsoft Teams really transformed how businesses are able to approach their CX strategy today?
Right. So that's definitely a primary theme for us, David, is the impact of consolidating, contact center with Microsoft Teams. Now, the interesting thing with that is not only is there a tremendous impact for the classic agent experience. So, when you kind of couple between a contact center and Teams, all of a sudden, first of all, as an enterprise, you get to rely on one single platform, which is Teams for both your UCAS and your CCAS or CX customer experience needs. So not only a kind of a one platform advantage, and not only the good old, I'm now able to bring a back office expert into a service workflow because it's just another Teams user for me. Um, Another very interesting area that for us, and a very exciting one for us, is we call this employees beyond the contact center, right? So we talk a lot about internal agents, about informal agents, departments such as sales, HR, IT help desk, travel desks, legal department, even a security team. All of them need contact center capabilities. They just don't necessarily even know that it's called contact center, right? But a lot of them can enjoy from capabilities like intelligent routing or some automation, and definitely reporting that a contact center platform can bring. The possibility of bringing those kind of CX customer experience capabilities into those kind of internal departments to employees beyond the contact center is definitely one of the more significant values that we're seeing, as a result of this trend and this idea of coupling contact center with a UCAS, like a leading UCAS, like Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing these two markets, the UCAS and CCAS market, kind of colliding for a little bit of time now, but it seems to really picked up traction, if you like, now, which is great to see. I want to talk about the options though for customers and what they can actually use. We have the connect, extend, and power options. Maybe you could talk a bit about what do they do, what do they intend to deliver for customers around their contact center strategy.
Sure, David, sure. And indeed, it's a very common, there are these three models that, Microsoft talks about, how we can connect a contact center solution to Teams, connect, extend, and the upcoming power model. So, this alone can be a whole technical session of itself. But to talk about this in high level and trying to keep things as simple as possible, when we talk about the connect model, we are still talking about a contact center platform that's somewhat detached from Microsoft Teams, but is able to interop with Microsoft Teams, essentially getting a call to a Teams user, an agent in our case, through SIP, right? Through SIP integration. So we can think about the integration between a contact center and Teams under the connect model, we can think about that as some form of basically a call transfer. Okay, so we're talking about two separate platforms that are interconnected over SIP, and we can bring a call from the contact center to Teams over the SIP trunk using a call transfer, maybe with some information about the user's presence and availability on Teams and so on. But really, we are still talking about somewhat of two separate platforms. And we're definitely seeing, especially the premium vendors, the Genesis, Nice, Five Nines, and of course, these are just a few examples, integrating with Teams using that connect model simply because they have some pretty massive platforms that reside outside of the Teams or Azure ecosystem. Then when we talk about the extend model, we are already talking about a tighter integration, because in the extend model, we bring a call from the contact center into Microsoft Teams through Graph API, okay, which is a Microsoft API. So, if in the connect model, we talked about two separate platforms interconnected over SIP, here we are still talking about two platforms, but the connection between those two platforms is a connection that is provided by Microsoft. Okay, so that's the extend model. Now, with the upcoming power model, and with Voca, we do work in that fashion already. In the power model, we're talking about taking the Microsoft ecosystem, if you will, to its full extent, to bring CCaaS into Teams. And namely, what we're doing is we are using Microsoft Azure Communication Services to achieve that integration to Teams. So many people out there don't necessarily know that actually Azure Communication Services is the voice and video provider for any Microsoft Teams meeting. Okay, so I encourage everyone in the audience who's listening to this to go on Google and search for Microsoft IC3 and learn a bit about the underlying voice and video infrastructure of Teams and Teams Phone, which is really powered by Azure Communication Services. And that is basically what's forming the power model. So basically, for a vendor that's working with this, such as us, a call between an agent and a customer that's running through Voca is leveraging the exact same, voice infrastructure as the 300 million Teams users out there worldwide. So when we talk about reliability and uptime and accuracy in routing decisions, definitely, the power model and working with Azure Communication Services gives us the tightest and the most reliable window of integration between a contact center and Teams.
Yeah, that's actually a really important point for users to understand, I think. I mean, there clearly we've got some really great options for users, whatever stage they're at on their sort of technology acquisition journey. For those customers that are sort of considering this, what are the big considerations, if you like, that they're faced with when implementing Teams as a contact center in one of those models, perhaps?
Yeah. So there are the advantages of that kind of consolidation. We talked about those in the beginning, and it seems that at least where we are today in the industry, most of the IT and customer experience leaders out there get that. But yeah, nevertheless, they have considerations or challenges in mind when they do that. Typically, the most popular one is, are my agents and supervisors going to enjoy a single application or a single interface experience, right? So it's very important for customers out there to understand, okay, I'm going to consolidate between the platforms. Teams Phone is going to be my underlying infrastructure for UCaaS and now also for customer experience. But what about the actual interface? Okay. And many customers, many enterprises out there want to make sure that their agents, their supervisors don't switch between multiple applications. They expect that if you're bringing that to Teams, everything is going to be on Teams from a UI or a user experience perspective. So that's definitely one important consideration. Another important consideration is the ease of deployment and scalability of it, right? Because when we are talking about all those departments beyond the contact center, you want to make sure as an IT leader in the company, you want to make sure that you have an easy way of okay, there's now a new department that needs contact center capability that asks the IT, hey IT, can you help me with some basic automation on the way in, for example. We want to make sure that there's that the solution that we choose supports things like multi-tenancy or role-based access or different tools that allow the customer just to easily spin up new contact center desks, but also to hand off the ongoing day two management. One thing the IT doesn't want is to be managing the contact center operations on an ongoing basis. So if we have a solution that can give a good answer for deployment and scalability, it means that IT gets to deploy and then move on with other operations. Maybe the last thing I'll point out, David, is the commercial model as well. Okay, because many contact center solutions, especially ones that have been flourishing in the days before contact center and unified communications consolidation, are based on a per agent model, right? Now, again, if we are talking about democratizing and spreading out contact center capabilities all across the enterprise, if we have a per agent model, we are making it a bit difficult for the enterprise to bring those capabilities to every user in the company. Okay, so definitely how the solution is wrapped commercially, does it give enough flexibility for the enterprise to spread this around and really let every Teams user act as a potential agent, also carries a lot of weight when making that consolidation decision between contact center and Teams.
Yeah, maybe we could bring some of this to life a little bit more with some specific use cases. Where have Audiocodes really achieved success with this? Especially around maybe operational efficiency, connecting that back office and front office. Using obviously Microsoft Teams as a contact center.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, in the past 2 years, we've been deploying Voca CICs for quite a lot of enterprises, really worldwide, really in all regions worldwide. Just recently, we have released two new public case studies, which I really love because they're colorful and they demonstrate the power of that consolidation and also the power of choosing the right integration model. Okay, so one really cool example is an enterprise called Van der Lande. Van der Lande is a Dutch enterprise that deals with airport logistics, right? So it's a 10,000 employee enterprise that has global operations, but based in the Netherlands. And as an enterprise that deals with airport logistics, they have constant 24/7 operations, especially during a holiday season. So for them, for example, reliability and uptime is massive when it comes to choosing the right solution. And one thing that we've been very successful with Van der Lande as part of the Voca deployment is just in eliminating any downtime that they've had once or ever with their previous contact center solution. And thanks to that robust method of integrating with Teams, we are now able to give Van der Lande the peace of mind that, okay, you have a contact center, you need it to work 24/7, and with Voca, essentially you're using Teams Phone, which in Enterprise Connect, Microsoft talked about Teams Phone now being 5 nines, and all the reliability of that kind of natively comes into Voca and then towards customers like Vanderlande, and just dramatically improving, their contact center availability and uptime. So that's one cool example. Another really cool example, and that is a second case study that we've just released lately, is the University of Central Florida. So that's a really cool example, David, because here we are talking about the second largest university in the United States. Okay, so it's a massive campus. It's more than 70,000 students. They have a Teams tenant of almost 200,000 users. So very large organization. And as a result of that, if you talk with University of Central Florida IT leaders, they will tell you that they consider their campus almost like a mini city. Okay, they have their own police department, they have their own hospital and a football stadium and whatnot. So the cool thing there, I think, what the kind of colorful aspect for Voca there is how we operate all these, multiple desks. In this case, we're talking about 40 contact center desks that in total have about 400 agents, and it's everything from the classic service desk through the police department and the College of Medicine and the hospital and the athletics department that sells tickets for the football games and so on. So it's a great example of how easy it is to scale Voca to different desks within the same enterprise, all thanks to the fact that the enterprise is on Teams, and Voca just kind of very elegantly connects to Teams and makes it easy to just give those capabilities to anyone in the university that wants to provide better service to the student community in this case.
Yeah, and of course, I guess that speaks to some of the robustness of the service as well. If you're using it for emergency services like police and hospital things, that's a great example. Gidi, we're coming towards the end of the session. I do want to leave our viewers with a bit of a forward-looking statement. What are you looking at, and what are you expecting in terms of developments around CX and Microsoft Teams? And how is Audiocodes preparing for that?
Yeah, sure, David. So, first and foremost, I'll say that for us, we believe that this whole trend of consolidating teams with contact center has only begun, right? The value of that consolidation is starting to be more and more apparent to enterprises out there. We definitely expect to see that new and exciting and untapped space of the departments beyond the contact center that need contact center capabilities. We definitely expect that trend to grow, and we definitely when we think about the evolution of Voca CIC in the market, a lot of that is with these kind of users in mind. How do we make sure that it's really easy to bring customer service capabilities to every person in the company, and we're expecting to see a lot more of that adoption to happen. So that's definitely one area that we expect to see a lot of progress in. The second, and I'm sure I'm not going to surprise you, is with generative AI and large language models, right? So bringing, in Audiocodes, we already have solutions that leverage, that new and exciting technology to bring insights and summaries and so on to meetings, to the meeting experience, for example. What you'll be seeing from the Voca side of the house is to bring all those GPT or large language model capabilities also to the CCaaS area. So things like, it starts with the trivial things like, sentiment analysis or just a basic call summary. But from there are a lot of other exciting things that we're talking about. For example, allowing supervisors to just freely prompt up a transcript. Maybe they're looking to learn something very specific about a specific call. Let's give them the freedom to ask their own questions. So that kind of capabilities. Also, not only analyzing CX on a per interaction basis, but definitely also trying to identify trends when we're talking about a set of interactions. So, for example, we have a specific product that we're selling. How much was this product discussed in customer calls this month compared to the previous month? And being able to identify different trends around it, both in a kind of historical analysis, but also in real time. If we think about councils and or municipalities, all of a sudden in 1 hour they're getting tens of calls about some road that got blocked. Okay, with something like a large language model, you can detect that fairly easily and notify people and be able to handle that very easily. So definitely, you can expect to see a lot from us coming in those areas of generative AI as well.
Fantastic. Gidi, unfortunately, we have come towards the end of the session, but I would just like to say congratulations again on your CX award, and thanks again so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you very much, David. It was great to be doing this, and see you next time. Thank you.
And thank you for watching. You've been watching me, David Dungay, on CX Today. Don't forget you can follow all the CX Trends action on social media by following the CX Trends hashtag. That's it from me. See you next time.